Good day, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today, and welcome to my TED Talk. Today, I want to talk to you about conflict and bias. And to illustrate this point, let's start off with a hands-on activity. I invite you all to relax in your chair, get comfy, and take a deep breath. Now I invite you to close your eyes. Imagine you wake up in the morning, you look over at the clock, you moan and you groan and realize that you're going to be late for work. You quickly get your belongings together and make yourself look pretty. You leave your house as soon as possible and you still go through with your morning routine, which is to stop by your local favorite coffee shop. You order your regular drink and the barista hands you your coffee with a smile and you make your way out the door. You're pleasantly surprised as a nice older gentleman opens up the door for you and also smiles. You continue on your way as you pull up to the bus stop. As you're waiting at the bus stop, you eavesdrop in on a couple arguments. You try to ignore it as the bus is pulling up and you make your way on. You scan your card, greet the driver, and look around for a seat. You notice a person who appears to be homeless, sitting at the back, taking up many seats. You choose to sit in the front of the bus. On the drive into work, you look out the window and see two police officers arresting someone who looks to be combative and in distress. You continue looking out the window on your way to work as you arrive at your destination. You walk the short distance to your building, and inside, the receptionist smiles at you and greets you good morning. You smile back and quickly make your way up to the office to start your day. Now I invite you to open your eyes and let's answer these questions. Was the barista young or old? Was the couple arguing at the bus stop a gay couple or a straight couple? Was the gentleman who held the door for you bald? Did they have a big tummy? Were they frail looking? Did you assume that the person who appeared to be homeless on the bus was dirty or neat? Did you assume that the person who was being arrested was male or female, black or white? Did you assume that the receptionist was a man? Or did you assume the receptionist was a woman? Now that we've done this activity, it's quite clear that our perspectives and assumptions can influence how we perceive and interact with the world around us. We have our own unique experiences, expectations, and backgrounds that shape our understanding of the world. These perspectives can sometimes lead us to make assumptions or judgments about others without realizing it. So what exactly are the definitions of conflict and bias? Well, let's start with bias. Peter Coleman et al. In their textbook titled The Handbook of Conflict Resolution, Theory and Practice provides an operational definition of bias as a measurable and observable tendency or preference towards a particular group or idea that impacts how individuals perceive, think, or behave. This bias can be conscious or unconscious and can result from various factors such as personal experiences, cultural values, stereotypes, or even social conditioning. To operationalize bias, researchers often use various methods such as self-report questionnaires, behavioral measures, implicit association tests, or psychological indicators to assess an individual's attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors towards a stimuli or certain groups. So how about conflict? Cooper et al. In their 2021 Applied Behavior Analysis textbook refers to conflict as a disagreement or clash of interests, opinions, or values between two or more individuals or groups that results in tension or hostility. The occurrence of bias within negotiations can be broken down into three different areas: biases of cognition, biases of processes, and biases of outcome and allocation. Biases of cognition can occur at the very beginning or even before a negotiation begins. It is a common pattern that happens in the way humans think when presented with something they are negotiating for. Let's talk about number two, biases of processes. Biases of processes can occur in the middle of a negotiation. This focuses on the illusions people experience in their perceptions. Opposing sides may over-exaggerate the other side's opinion and create a false narrative that can unfairly influence perspective. Now let's move into the third area of conflict and bias. Biases of outcome and allocation. Biases of outcome and allocation are those that affect the way people interpret outcomes of negotiation. Perception of oneself can influence our judgment, as we often choose what we are proposing to someone as the fairest and most favorable option, as people commonly view themselves in a better light than others. And you might be saying, well, that's fine and dandy, but how can I implement this in real life? One guide that I felt really helpful to reduce this form of bias in the context of conflict and conflict resolution is explaining it by using the Johari window. This model describes that bias is located in the blind area of the window, where information about ourselves is unknown to us, but known to others. This model further reinforces the idea that biases can often be unconscious and hidden from our awareness, despite how prevalent they might be to others. Now let's use a real-life example to explain and help us out. Imagine a scenario
where a group of 4 students, Alice, Bob, Carol, and Dave, are working together on a school project. Alice is a highly ambitious student. She takes charge of the project, believing that her leadership skills are strong and appreciated by her team. However, unbeknownst to her, her teammates perceive her as overbearing and slightly controlling. This perception is part of Alice's blind spot, as she is unaware of the negative impact her leadership style has on the group dynamic. As the project progresses, Alice's teammates become increasingly frustrated and disengaged. They feel unheard and undervalued, which leads to miscommunication and conflicts within their group. Ultimately, this affects the quality of the project and the group's overall performance. In this example, Alice's blind spot is her overbearing leadership style, which is known to others but not to herself. This creates tension within the group, resulting in conflicts and hindering progressive collaboration. If Alice had been aware of her blind spot, she could have adopted a more inclusive leadership approach, ensuring that all team members felt valued, heard, and equal. Now, considering this information, reducing bias and its impact can be done by increasing one's self-awareness and expanding the area of our inner motivations known to ourselves and others. To do this, one must engage in self-reflection, seek feedback from others, and participate in dialogue and discussion with the individuals who have differing experiences and perspectives. Working to dismantling our own biases, reducing their impact, and making informed decisions can only be done when we become more aware of these biases and how they influence our thoughts and our actions. One other thing you've done today to resolve and understand your own bias and how it pertains to conflict and negotiation is by listening to this TED Talk. So pat yourself on the back. Simply being able to self-reflect and take aim at your own biases is crucial for negotiation and conflict resolution. I believe the saying is, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So keep on reflecting, keep working on yourself, and be open-minded to how others perceive, feel, and act. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.